You know, I discovered over the past week that there are kind of three things that almost everything in my life fit into. There are the things that I just have. We all have those things in our lives, right? There are the things that I value. But then there's also, I've discovered a third group of things in my life that are quite unique, that are things that I treasure. And what separates those things from anything else is that, at least I'm suspecting that it might be the same for you, but that these things really aren't probably worth anything to anybody else besides me. Like, for example, there's a card that my son gave me for Father's Day this year, or there's notes that Laura has written me over the years, or there's a painting that, my sister hand painted for me, or, a tool that I got from my grandfather's shop that, what make them priceless to me is the emotional connection of the gesture that was made when I received these things from these people in my life. And the story that I want to share with you today is a story that comes from a woman who does that for God, if you can imagine that. In the Bible, she is not named. She shows up during a supper. Jesus was eating with his disciples, and she totally disrupts this whole meal that they're having, and she takes this bottle of perfume that she has, that probably was the most precious thing that she owned. And she takes it and she breaks it over the head of Jesus. And there's people that are totally incensed in this moment. I mean, there's some people that are upset that she would do this, thinks that, she probably should have taken this money and given it to the poor, But Jesus, in the midst of this, Jesus is touched by this gesture of love and of thanks and of graciousness. I don't know what happened in her life. I suspect that God did something significant through Jesus for her. And because of that, her life was forever changed. That's what Jesus did for me. And because of that, I think there's a part of the story that what this is the outflowing of her heart. She is overwhelmed. And in that moment, she can see nothing but Jesus. And while everybody else is kind of all upset about how much this cost and what she should have done or what she shouldn't have done, Jesus holds this woman up as an example before these people he's meeting with, that he is touched by her attention and her actions. And Jesus, in his own words, says this about her. He says it is because she offered what she had. Doesn't care about how much it cost, doesn't care about the disruption. He cares about what she did. Let me ask you this. What do you think happens when we turn our attention to God? Christians have this word that I don't think they really understand very much. It's the word worship. And what worship is, it's so much more than music or a song. It is, true worship is when we turn our attention to God, when our heart overflows onto him. It is what happens, at least for me. When I'm walking down the road, or I'm at the beach, or especially when I'm in nature, or I find myself in this place where I get a glimpse of who he is, the beauty around me, what God has done for me, the connection that we have. And in that moment, there's an outflowing of my soul. And you never really know what's going to happen. I mean, I struggle with this because sometimes it's a song that falls from my lips in that moment. Sometimes it's a word of praise. Sometimes I am struck dumb in silence because I can't utter a word in the midst of what I sense is God. Now, if you're not a Christian, this is all probably sounding really strange to you. And yet I'd be willing to bet even those of you who are the furthest from God have experienced this at one point or another in your life. Why? Because the Bible tells us that we were all made for worship. You see, there's a reason why a sunset or a clear starry night or a rugged landscape affects us. Because even in creation, I think you catch a glimpse of who God is. There is this song. It goes like this. O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, when I see the stars and I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed, and when I think of God his Son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in, that on that cross, my burden gladly bearing, he, Jesus, bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. You know, those are just words. It's nothing more than a tune that has become famous, except that it is the very expression of a heart that God has caught the attention of. And see, here's the most humbling part of this entire thing. God, who needs nothing, God, who is the creator of the universe and of you and me and of everything that we see around us, treasures the overflow of our heart so much that he basks in our worship. I mean, imagine that for a moment. I mean, my name is Kevin, and you can call this what you want. It's an emotional response, it's a moment of weakness, whatever you want to call it. But part of going deeper is paying attention to what is in front of us and learning how to respond to that. Of giving thanks, love, appreciation, where all of those things is due. You know, one of the things that I love about this woman is that she gave what she had, but catch this, it did not go unnoticed. Jesus valued it in that moment. Can I ask you today, what does the overflow of your heart spill onto? Because sometimes it spills onto things that are unworthy, doesn't it?